Raptors lost to the Nets 116 to 103. And I'm for 3 quarters, man. For 3 quarters, we were there. We were fighting. They went on runs. We went on runs. Khem Birch was playing amazing. Khem Birch was giving us most of our. He gave us like 9 offensive rebounds. Khem Birch was just everywhere. He was an animal. And even though OG got into foul trouble early, he still dropped 20 points, and that's 5 straight games with 20 points from OG Ananobi. And yes, some of the drives weren't even good, but he was still efficient. And then after Siakam, yes, Siakam, I admit he went 2 for 16 this game. He couldn't get anything to fall, but I think you should have got more than 6 free throws. But still, you can't go 2 for 16. He missed all his threes. If I'm Nick Nurse, I'm telling Siakam, if you don't make your first 3 shots, don't shoot any more threes. Shoot a mid range. There's nothing wrong with that. And Fred too. Fred has these games where he goes 3 for 12. I'm gonna be honest. I don't like Fred shooting 12 threes. I'd rather him shoot maybe 6, 7, and drive to the paint and get contact. And he's inconsistent with his finishing. That's one thing I've seen. But I would have liked to see Fred, see how Malachi Flynn, when he came into the game, he was driving in, he was shooting mid ranges, he was shooting confidently. I don't know why, but I feel like Fred should take a page out of Malachi Flynn, who's a rookie, but he should get more of his floaters down because he has chances where screen and roll, he has open shot, but he pump fakes and passes out, and he'd rather take a three. I just don't. I personally don't like that about how we play the game. But Kyle Lowry, first really good game in a while. He played really well in the first half. In the fourth quarter, we didn't get that much out of our team. We got outscored by 16 points in the fourth quarter, 36-20. That was because of Mike James, man. Mike James and that bench, like their bench just our bench played good, but their bench also played good. Like Mike James, we couldn't stop him out there. In that fourth quarter, he was making literally everything. Like everything looked cash as soon as he let his hands. Blake Griffin needed a lot of flopping, but you have to give it to him. He played great today, and we did a good job on KD and Kyrie. That thing about us is when we go against teams like this, we'll overload on their best guys, but then you'll see other guys play really well, like Jeff Green did. Jeff Green, even though he let Khem Birch get 14, um, get like 9 offensive rebounds, he came back in that fourth quarter and he started blocking him out, and Khem Birch didn't get as much offensive rebounds, and he was driving in pretty well. And our defense wasn't bad, but we just weren't because we weren't scoring, and then after sometimes we have lapses. Like I remember when Siakam let Kevin Durant get an open three in transition, bad switching, and we just got outplayed in that fourth quarter. And it showed when you have great players like KD, Joe Harris had instances where like he scored 3 straight threes, and it's hard to beat the Nets when Joe Harris is scoring 3 straight threes. You have Landry Shaman, who did a pretty good job. He didn't shoot as well, but he was driving in, he was penetrating, he was doing a really good job. I was really surprised with him. And Tyler Johnson gave them great minutes as well. They had an all around great game. They didn't defend anything, but when it came fourth quarter, they couldn't miss. And that's why I was watching the game, and I knew to myself, I thought to myself, I was like, they were missing a lot of threes in the first half, and I knew they were going to start making their threes. And once they started making the threes, it was harder for us to come back because our 3 game wasn't down packed. Apart from a great game by Watanabe, who was and apart from Watanabe and Kyle, everyone else didn't play shoot that well. And OG, no one else shot that well. So when you're fighting a 3 point game with the Nets, it's really hard because they already play small and everyone can shoot on their team. I would say that the referees were bad in the first half for the Raptors at least. In the second half, they did give us some calls, and the Nets didn't get some calls. So I guess it was even, not even to the point where they were good officiating, but it was even. And I was surprised with Kyrie's defense actually, because Kyrie wasn't there offensively, but he was playing great defense. He had that one steal against Siakam in the fourth quarter. He did a good job of bumping Fred when he was initiating the offense, especially when he was with the second unit. Like Kyrie was doing a really good job on defense, and I was really surprised. The more and more I watch the Raptors, the more and more I fall in love with our bench. Because even though Freddie Gillespie didn't play the best game, he still showed that he could be a big body, big presence. He wasn't that good against the Nets because they stretched the floor out pretty well. And the Raptors defense, first half or first 3 quarters, we were smothering. We were running out to shooters, and we were getting good contests, but they just started making their shots. And you can't do anything when Kevin Grant is scoring like 7 points in the fourth quarter and effortlessly. Like he was efficient too. The more and more I see this team, Boucher with this game, I don't know if you. I don't think we still would have lost even with Boucher on the court because the way we were playing, we were playing good except for that until that fourth quarter. But I don't know because Gary Trent, like you saw with that second unit, the ball was moving, but Gary Trent when he's in that second unit, notice that he has the like he lets the ball sit, you know, like the ball doesn't move when he's on the court because he has a similar tendency like Norman Powell when they rush everything and they think they have to shoot every shot because they get limited amount of shots, especially when they're on the bench. And Gary Trent did such a great job when he's a starter. So that's something else Nick Nurse has to look for. But I guess the only person that wouldn't have played was probably Stanley Johnson and Bembry, and probably would have played Gary Trent. But Fred VanVleet plays the most amount of minutes on our team because of his defense. But when he's on the court, sometimes he just doesn't make shots, and he's shooting really bad from three this season. Not bad, but he's shooting below 37% from three, and he's shooting like 10 a game. That is not where for his career. His career average is 37%, but we're not used to him shooting that same percentage with that the amount of threes he's shooting. And no one's telling him to shoot 40%. That would be ideal, but 39, 38, shooting like 36% on nine shots just doesn't seem like a good return when he's a good mid-range shooter. But I digress. This was a this was a tough loss because we showed heart for first 3.5 quarters, but what can you do? If you like the video, subscribe and peace.